come in, come in. Oh, pull up a seat. Have a dram. I'm going to share with you a good thing from Scotland. Well, here's a good thing from Scotland, but this is another very good thing. I was just in Nashville for a conference called Sing. And at the party afterwards was wonderful, full of great musicians. I got to meet the great guitarist Steve Cropper. That was a thrill. But also I found at the party a good friend of mine, who is also a really good musician, a singer-songwriter, but a rather extraordinary man, Andrew Peterson. He founded a thing called the Rabbit Room, which is a great flourishing community of people who are interested in the creative arts, who are trying to express Christianity and their living faith in all kinds of imaginative and creative ways, following the examples of the Inklings. And it's called the Rabbit Room because that's the name of the room that Lewis and Tolkien and their friends used to sit and confabulate in the Eagle and Child in Oxford. Well, Andrew shares with me, as well as an enthusiasm for pipes, an enthusiasm for George MacDonald. And suddenly, out of nowhere, from somewhere among the folds of his clothes, he produced this magnificent 2-volume poetical works of George MacDonald. Look at that. It's the first edition, 1893. And he wrote a lovely little dedication for me. I'll show you that. And he also, very wet tobacco, it's not going. He also, I read a poem to him from it, so I'm going to read that. So here we are. Here's the original dedication. The book was given to a Mrs. Carey, by the looks of it, with love from her old friends, and in Christmas 1902. But the book is 1893, and then he's written this very nice one, you can see. For Malcolm, with gratitude and high hopes for many pleasant pipe sessions here and in the new creation, your friend Andrew P. Nashville, 2023. The very last thing I would have expected in Nashville was George MacDonald, but I was and am delighted to have it, and I'll have much to explore. I've read his poem, Diary of an Old Soul, which has a poem for every day. I've read you some of that. But there are poems in here I don't know at all, and I'm really looking forward to them indeed. There's a book of sonnets in here. So as a sonneteer, I'll be interested to see what George MacDonald does with the sonnet form. But I thought I'd read you a couple of his smaller lyrics. This is one which I read to Andrew by way of thanks. It's called The Grace of Grace. And grace, of course, is God's free gift to us of his love without condition. But it's amazing how people have turned it into conditions. So people say, oh, if only I had the grace for X and Y, then I'd be a better person. As though you had to have some kind of achievement to receive it. And this poem starts like that, but it has a beautiful turn at the end. The grace of grace. Had I the grace to win the grace of some old man in law complete, my face would worship at his face, and I sit lowly at his feet. Had I the grace to win the grace of childhood, loving, shy, apart, the child should find a nearer place and teach me, resting on my heart. Had I the grace to win the grace of maiden, living all above, my soul should trample down the base that she might have a man to love. A grace I had no grace to win knocks now at my half-open door. Ah, Lord of glory, come thou in. Thy grace divine is all and more. I love that. I especially love the little bit at the end about the half-open door. That's so honest. You know, I'm nearly there, but not quite. And I love the welcoming. I welcomed you in just now. I mean, I could have said, come thou in, come thou in. Perhaps with any guest, we have the chance of a glimpse of the Lord of Glory. So that's one little lyric. Here's another, which is I think really sort of psychologically profound. Anyone who's found themselves awake and pondering at midnight, or at that stage where you've let the old day go, but the new day hasn't come, and you're in a kind of stillness and point of balance. Keats composed quite often at midnight. He has a line, "Midnight when the muse is ripe for labour." So here's a little 3-verse lyric of MacDonald's, an exquisite thing really. It's called The Holy Midnight. Ah, holy midnight of the soul, when stars alone are high, when winds are resting at their goal, and sea waves only sigh. Ambition faints from out the will, asleep sad longing lies. All hope of good, all fear of ill, all need of action dies. Because God is, and claims the life he kindled in thy brain, and thou in him, wrapped far from strife, diest and livest again. It's a wonderful little poignant moment of Christian mysticism, almost Zen-like. Everything's gone, you're at this still point, and then you die and live in God. And I'll just give you one last one, which is called God Not Gift. And it's very powerful. It's really about, in the end, you don't want anything but God himself. You don't want him to give you this, that, or the other thing. In the end, it's him alone that you want. And it seems to me, from the imagery, to be a poem actually written out of listlessness and depression. Sometimes that's the point that brings you closest to the need for God and only God alone. Maybe that's why Jesus went into the wilderness, to learn that man does not live by God alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. So I'll just finish our little visit with this one. It's grey skies for us at the moment, so it seems appropriate. God Not Gift. Grey clouds my heaven have covered o'er, my sea ebbs fast, no more to flow. Ghastly and dry my desert shore, parched bare, unsightly things doth show. 'Tis thou, Lord, cloudest up my sky, stillest the heart-throb of my sea, tellest the sad wind not to sigh, yea, life itself to wait for thee. Lord, here I am, empty enough, my music but a soundless moan. Blind hope and all my household stuff leaves me, blind hope, not quite alone. Shall hope go too, that I may trust purely in thee, and spite of all? Then turn my very heart to dust. On thee I yet will call. List, list, his wind among the pines. Hark, hark, the rushing is his seas. O Father, these are but the signs. For thee I hunger, not for these. Not joy itself, though pure and high, no gift will do instead of thee. Let but my spirit know thee nigh, and all the world may sleep for me. Another midnight poem. I just love that. For thee I hunger, not for these. That's beautiful poetic play on that thee sound. No gift will do instead of thee. That's right at the heart of MacDonald's vision and theology. And there it is, all distilled into a beautiful little lyric, which I didn't know until after I'd been given this book. So it was a really welcome present, and I shall have to find where I shall find a place to fit it. My MacDonald shelves are fairly full, but I shall find a place to put this, and it'll indeed have pride of place. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. I'm skipping off again to all sorts of other places, but good to catch up. Slán siomhá.